My question has to do with dreams. I can be living a conscious life and trying to put into action what you're saying, but then I have dreams, and most of my dreams that I remember are fairly fear-based. And so I'm wondering, how do I work with these dreams? I mean, I'll wake up in the morning and go, oh, that was a dream, but still it's there, and I just don't know what to do with that.
Well, we think dreams can be very helpful to you because your dreams are manifestations too. What I'm thinking and what I'm feeling always match. And what I'm thinking and feeling and manifesting always match. And in the same way, what I'm thinking and feeling and manifesting in dreams always match. So the reason that a dream is so beneficial is because it is before it's manifested, so you're not caught up in all of the drama and trauma of such a manifestation, but it's bigger than your emotion in that it got your attention. Somebody was saying, well, if I have emotions that I'm not aware that I'm having, which means I've got vibrations that I'm not aware that I'm offering, then where do I go from that? And we say, well, if you make that statement often enough, you're launching your rocket of desire that's saying, I would like a fuller realization of what my vibrational offering is. And we think that's why you're having those dreams. You really, really have been wanting to know what the underlying vibration is. And so your dreams are just helping you to fine-tune.
I see.
Sometimes the subject of the dream can point to specific areas of concern. But usually it's just a sort of undercurrent of vulnerability that's manifesting through the crack of least resistance. So it's sort of playing in anything that you've seen through the day. That's why sometimes you can sort of make a little sense of it. Don't try too hard to make sense of the specifics of your dream. Instead, try to make sense of the essence or the feeling of your dream. If you want to, tell us about a recent dream.
Okay. Last night I had a real vivid dream. Usually my dreams, a lot of them are about my father and about dishonoring me, not liking me, anger towards me, chasing me. I've had him attempting to try to kill me. That whole cat and mouse kind of game with my father. And yet in real life, I don't focus on my father a lot. I've kind of set that aside and said I don't feel good in his presence, so I really don't go there a lot. When I feel good, I contact him and we have communication. But for the most part, I don't have a lot with him. But in dreams, that comes up quite frequently.
Now, as you awaken and you remember the dream, and you say, well, I think for a while I will try to play Abraham's path of least resistance game. So you say, would my father really try to kill me? Yes or no? What's the path of least resistance?
No.
And when you think about that rationally, you really don't think that either. In other words, do you wonder why you dream that?
Yeah, that's correct. I don't think that that's really happening, but I'm wondering, why is this coming into my consciousness as I'm awake? Why am I aware of this?
It's an interesting thing because as you were describing the dream and therefore reactivated the vibration that surrounds it, and you were talking about how in the dream your father doesn't like you, he is sort of after you, and the energy that we were feeling around that and the words that we were wanting to give to you is that none of that was ever about you. It was more about how he felt about him. But when you are, especially a little one, in the vibrational arena of someone else, how they feel is how they feel. And since everyone is self-centered, and that's a good thing, you take everything personally. So when you are in the presence of someone who is frustrated, you assume that the frustration is about you because often that frustration is vented to you because you are not able to maintain a separateness from them. In other words, you're often right in the middle of their life, so when they're happy, you feel like you may be the reason of it. When they are not happy, you feel that you may be the reason of it. And so, as time goes by and as the years have gone on, since that got started when you were very young, and now you watch the behavior or you sniff out the vibration of your father, and you still see that he is frustrated, you still see that he is not very happy for the most part, you are still taking responsibility for that just like you learned to do way back then. Now, what we want you to begin to understand is that all you have to do is take the path of least resistance about that. And so, as you awaken from a dream, like you did today, and you think about your father, and you say, all right, which is my path of least resistance? Now by this, remember the questions we asked earlier, untruth or truth, feel good, feel bad, truth, feel good. So the path of least resistance, we're not asking you for truth, although sometimes they are the same. The path of least resistance is the one that feels the best every single time. So we'll give you some choices here. I am responsible for my father's frustration. I do not have anything to do with my father's frustration.
Right.
That is the path of least resistance. I have never had anything to do with my father's frustration. I have always had something to do with my father's frustration. I've never had anything to do with my father's frustration. My father's frustration is his thing. My frustration is my thing. And can you feel how things are starting to ease up just a little bit around the subject? Now, just with this little bit of effort, we think those dreams would soften a great deal. They might even stop altogether. And if they don't, the first thing we would do when we awaken from a dream that is unsettling, we would reach for the path of least resistance. Now, you did that. You said it was only a dream. Then we added to it by saying dreams are manifestations too. Dreams are indicators of what you're offering vibrationally. And then we soften it by saying, but you can change the way you feel about anything.
I see.
Sometimes people worry about dreams because they have precognitive dreams. They dream something and then it happened. And then they think their dreams are prophetic. And we say, your dreams are essentially prophetic in that your dreams analyze vibrational content and play out through the best way that you can make sense of it, something that is meaningful to you. But dreams are more valuable as you feel your way through them rather than as you try to think your way through them.
That makes
and
sense.
So then it's really logical, isn't it? If I awaken from a bad dream, I want to turn it into a good dream. And if I can't turn it into a good dream, then I don't want to think about it. And now I'm aware of the subject of this dream, and I'm deliberately reaching for better feeling thoughts, or I'm avoiding the topics altogether, those dreams have to subside. It does not matter where your focus comes from or how you have achieved it. Your focus is powerful. Your focus is summoning of source energy. So, as we are moving forward here today, we're going to talk about a variety of processes. And you're going to notice that we are not very supportive of amplifying anything that does not feel good to you. Because we know that as we talk about where you are, we only practice the vibration of where you are. And as we practice the vibration of where you are, where you want to be cannot be. You have to make a decision. You have to say, do I want to remain here where I am, where I'm observing, where I'm feeling, where I'm talking? Or do I want to go over there where I am not used to practicing? And do I want to practice about what's over there until what's over there becomes a more dominant part of my vibration? Because until you make that transfer, until you vibrate more in alignment with what you are wanting cannot be your experience. Not because you are not wonderful, not because you are not worthy, but because law of attraction says you got to vibrate it in order to achieve it. So if you're asking for more money and you're thinking about money, and every time you think about money you get all worried, you're beating the drums of step 1, but you are not in the mode of step 3. So then you say, well, if I practiced feeling that way about money, then how do I change the way I feel about money? And we say, you don't have to change the way you feel about money in the sense that you have to take this thought that is negative when you think about it and think this positive thought about money. You just have to stop thinking that negative thought about money. Because you've asked and it is given. You see, law of attraction says that which is likened to itself is drawn. When you say in your physical words, ask and it is given, we want to really clarify something. It isn't ask and then do all the right things and it is given. It isn't ask and be born in the right place and it is given. It is ask and do not offer vibrational disharmony to what you are asking for. Which is the same thing as saying ask and be a vibrational match to what you are asking for. So we're talking about the path of most allowance, which sometimes is easier for you to hear as the path of least resistance. So what you're reaching for is the path of least resistance. You're reaching for the thoughts on the subject that feel the best to you. And it really is, as you will hear as we move forward here today, an individual in the moment determination. In other words, nobody could write a book that says this is the path of least resistance relative to these subjects, because no one knows the details of what you are living, or the details of what you are wanting, or the details of where you are standing. But your guidance system knows that. Your source knows that. So if you begin to pay attention to the way you feel, and you feel your way through these subjects, reaching for the path of least resistance, which means the thought that feels the best, you can make your way into pure vibration on any topic and fast and immediate manifestation on anything that you choose. And that is what deliberate creation is. So when you think about the subject of dollars, and you think about the specifics, in other words, you say, oh, I need more money and I need it fast. That's not the path of least resistance. You can feel by the knot that sort of wells up in your stomach. So you say, well, let me see if I can find a path of lesser resistance. Good things do come to me in time. Well, maybe that felt a little better. If it did, that was a better choice of thought. When you say, I'm not going to think that thought, you're pretty much thinking that thought. When you say, I'm going to deactivate that bugger, you don't deactivate it, you activate it. So how do you deactivate that thought? By activating another thought. But if you try to activate another thought on the same subject, you usually activate that thought. So we want you to more softly practice the art of allowing. We want you to understand that meditation is the ultimate deactivation. Because when you quiet your mind, you stop all thought. And when you do that, you allow your own vibration to raise, and you put yourself, for the time of that quieted mind, in the receiving mode. When you appreciate, you deactivate negative thoughts. When you adore or praise, you deactivate negative thoughts. This virtual reality process that we are talking about, we are offering because we want you to, in the same attitude that we say, just pet your cat. In other words, don't think about your issues, just pet your cat. And if petting your cat is pleasing to you, in the way that it's pleasing to the cat, then for that time of that experience, you are taking the path of lesser resistance, or you are practicing allowing. So, as we are moving forward here today, we'll listen to you about whatever it is you want to talk about. And at every opportunity that we can find, we will help you to find the path of less resistance. What does the path of least resistance mean? It means I'm going to find the best possible way to think and feel about this subject. Over the time, as many of you have been hearing us, sometimes it feels to you that we are offering you a contradiction, because we say, you are the creator of your experience, and you get what you think about. And so, give your attention to those things that you want. And then we say, let's practice the art of allowing by meditating and petting the cat. And you say, which is it? Am I supposed to focus upon what I want, or am I supposed to not focus upon what I want? And we say, the optimum, glorious, creative experience is to focus upon what you want in full connection with the source that is you, and feel the glory and exaltation and passion and eagerness of that creative experience. That is optimum. But if you've already practiced some thoughts about that subject that have you in a place of resistance, then hitting those subjects head on doesn't diminish your resistance, it increases your resistance. And you have to individually discover which is which. So sometimes we would say to a person, as they are dealing with an issue, let's not talk about it at all, let's talk about other things. Let's go to a virtual reality and just think about a blissful moment in time. And they will say, well, what good's that doing? Shouldn't I be dealing with my issue? And we say, no, because if we deal with your issue, all we do is activate it right where you've practiced it. Then sometimes you say, well, if I'm the creator of my own experience, I really want to be hands-on in the creation. I want to think about it. And we say, we want you to too. We want you to think about it as long as when you're thinking about it, it feels good. So here's the way all of this meshes together. You want to be as specific as you can be and still feel good. It's a sort of trial and error thing that you're doing.